We won the first one, help us. Get it for sure.
Yeah.
Did you got a packet?
Yes. We may have a terrible draw the first game, but as long as we're in. All
Yeah, right.
we ready?
We're ready. All right, I made it right at 10 o'clock.
Recording in progress.
We'll have to do audio. Let's call the meeting to order, the appraisal abstractors and home inspector board. And go ahead and introduce our guest. There is Mr. Sam, what was your last name? Bell. Sam Bell. And, he's just here observing. Yes, sir. Of course, we are on PBS today. Who is lower right? I think that's the. Who's that? I'm not sure who that is.
I'm not sorry.
Okay. Maybe a home inspector. You might be one of the instructors. Okay. But you have not met her. This is Miss Sarah Johnson. She's our new executive assistant.
Hi.
Nice to have you on board.
Thank you.
We move to Miss Susie and the roll call.
Lenny Briggs, Michael Gravino,
Here.
Sarah Hopkins,
Here.
Brian Hester,
Here.
Wally Lovelace,
Here.
Julie Matthews, Scott McKinnon,
Here.
Jim Pender, Sarah Stevens, Daniel Storley.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have the form.
Laney Briggs, yeah. So last board meeting, January 17th, we forgot to excuse or unexcuse Jim Pender's absence. So I would entertain a motion to do either one of those for his absence on January 17th. I make a motion it's unexcused.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. So did we hear from Laney?
No, we did not. And, can we talk up just a little bit?
Okay.
Because I'm having a hard time hearing.
Yeah. So can we do Jim and Laney at the same time?
Yes, we can do
Okay.
them both at the same time.
We'll entertain a motion to excuse or unexcuse Jim Pender and Laney Briggs from today's meeting. I'll make a motion that open my excuse. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Entertain a motion to adopt the meeting agenda today. Hopefully everybody look through it.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the approval of the board minutes from January 17th.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And we will go into the committee reports and jump to Miss Sarah Stevens for the education committee.
Thank you, sir. Just have a great deal of, still a lot of business to approve with regard to the, home inspectors. Kind of a cheat sheet here on the. Okay, as far as the appraiser courses are concerned, what I'd like to do is just take these by firm, by presenter, and talk with you about those, and then we can move on. The first one is appraiser e-learning, valuation by and fair housing laws and regulations. Pete Christensen, Hal Humphreys, Brian Reynolds are the instructors that they've listed. After reviewing the material, I would like to go ahead and ask for your approval of that. And, like a motion, for approval of the appraiser e-learning evaluation bias in your house.
So,
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Can everybody, can everybody speak up just a little bit? I am without my hearing aids and I'm having a hard time hearing, so,
yeah, you want
yeah.
the motion and the second.
You wanna swap with me so you'll be in the middle?
No, I'll be okay.
I'll just tell her who's.
You'll give me hand signal. I'm sorry, not okay. I'm having a hard time hearing.
Technology has failed us. We have to send them off.
Thank you.
You won't be down.
Well, I guess I can. I'm ready.
But you still need to speak up.
Yeah, I
Those
do.
others.
Yeah, we need so everybody can hear.
Okay, the next one is Green Mountain e-learning. This is a new provider for us, and I think we've had anything from them before. They're asking for, 3, classes varying from 4 hours, to 5 hours of CE, measuring square footage with ANSI, cultural competency and elimination of bias, and big data trouble, public records, square footage, and big data mess. Reviewing the material, I'm going to ask you all for approval of their presentations. So I'd entertain a motion that we approve.
So moved.
Second. Just a quick question. Have we ever done anything with David Hampton Thomas that we know of?
No, no. So we're not only are we approving the class, but we're also approving that instructor. And, just so you,
I've got a point of information. On the measuring square footage, this is for my ignorance. I've seen appraisers use the little machine to measure the square footage, and when I've gone back and used the tape, it's been at variance with that. Is that something that is specified that they can, appraisers can use?
Are you seeing them use it inside the house or outside?
Both.
Both? Inside, I used one, it measured from one wall to the next, it just helped me
Yeah, room
draw it
size.
out a little more accurately, but outside, I always use the tape, but
Yeah.
I don't know about the laser on the outside.
it would be hard to do on the outside.
They have
Some walls, some can't.
Yeah.
I carry both and I measure with both on the outside. I do once in a while, I'll be like, that doesn't look right. And so I'll measure with the tape. Mine seems to be right. I think if you're using a laser, you need to verify that it's correct once in a while. So, but I don't think that class specifies one way or the other.
We always measure our listings, Edward, now, and we list them just to, if it's gonna be wrong, it's me and not the assessor. So,
Well, and I think, Wally, one of the things that this particular class seems to emphasize are the new ANSI regulations. So there are
yeah,
new, comments about, how you treat, let's say, basements and
Yeah.
attics and
Uh-huh.
things like that. And I think that's probably more the focus
uh-huh,
than, a focus on, let's make sure that we're within,
technique.
yeah, to measure with each other.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Actually, it's this book that,
Okay.
So, and this is the culmination of several years. of-
yes,
of
yes,
work.
it's not new.
No.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Okay, so did we,
So we had a
Yes, we
motion
did.
and a second.
Okay.
You got it?
all right,
We had a motion and a second. Did you get who those were?
Did you,
Okay.
yes, we did.
okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we have a proctor approval for Dynasty School. And each one of these people, David Johnson, Arian Farlow, Valerie Peterson, and Claudia Davis. His name has been submitted and the application went through the, various points that have to be, present for a person to be a proctor. And they were set out, and, so I'm going to ask for a motion to approve these people as proctors.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that takes care of the appraiser. Sarah, what about the one that we just finished, we just got?
They're on for May.
Okay, very good. We got one yesterday afternoon, and so that's what I said. All right. The next one, that we're gonna take a look at is a little more lengthy, and this is the home inspector continuing education. And what I'd like to do on that is to, again, take a look at these, presentations by the, group that's making that presentation. And our first group is going to be, with the American Society of Home Inspectors. And, they're online. They are, anywhere from 3 to 4 to 5 hours of CE. They are, after looking over them and Diana helping with it and, looking through the materials, I'd like to, ask that, my recommendation would be that you go ahead and, approve. So I'd like to ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve A through K. Second that.
Scott, could I just ask you to go back and do A through J, please?
Okay, I'll amend my motion to approve American Society of Home Inspectors A through J.
All right, thank you.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, I want to look at K and kind of set it out by itself because they haven't paid yet. And so what I'd like to do is to ask you to approve that pending.
What now?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not turning.
Sorry, I did as well.
Okay, so, little communication difficulty, okay. Well,
Well, it's just their check process.
Oh.
Just getting the check.
She's soft-spoken and she.
well, how to handle this, I guess we could go back and do,
So we have gotten paid.
no,
For none, for none of them.
so we'll do, could you go back and amend your motion, Scott, A to K, pending, payment?
Okay, I will amend for
Sorry.
the third go around for the American Society of Home Inspectors. I'm gonna make a motion to approve A through K, subject to them paying the appropriate fees.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
all right, sorry, thank you, Scott, appreciate it. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Have they paid? So International's not paid anything. International's not paid anything either.
Okay. All right, our next group is,
That's how we're not putting on the agenda.
Hey, Sarah, and we have the instructor on Zoom if you want to talk to him.
that's a good idea. Oh, good. Andrew, could you kind of help us out here with, we're getting ready to go into the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors, but none of those courses have been paid for. Do you have any information?
Mr. Kuzak, can you hear us? Andrew, you are, there you are.
There you go.
Can you hear us, Andrew?
Okay, well, let's
Well, we can't hear you.
All right, we're just gonna go on.
just move forward.
All right. These classes from,
I think you just said something.
okay, go.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes,
I can hear you.
we can hear you.
Can you, I guess I'm having trouble.
Can you hear us? Can you hear me? That's a no.
Okay, let's just,
We're just gonna move on.
There he goes.
There is a very strong lag.
Gotcha.
okay, just move forward with the classes there.
Okay. All right, so we have,
There is a very strong lag. Yeah.
I was asking you a question about the fact that none of the classes that have been submitted by, Internachi, have been paid for. Have you any information on that for us? We'll just move on.
No,
Yes.
nothing. Okay,
Okay.
we tried. Thank you.
So, in reviewing this material, I would like to recommend that we approve. So, again, none of these have been paid for. So this
I
is-
will get this taken care of.
They were
Okay,
paid.
it's a strong line.
Yep, don't
Thank-
worry about it.
Okay.
Okay, I will make a motion for the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors that we approve classes A through L, subject to the appropriate payments being made.
Thank you, Scott. All right,
Second that.
any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Thank you. Our last is McKissick. And this is an online and an online correspondence, both for 2 hours of CD. And it's about wood destroying organisms. Translates to me into termites and carpenter ants and beetles. Anyway, in reviewing the material, I'd like to make a recommendation that we approve. And, so I'd entertain that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I think that takes care of it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Donna. Sure. Yeah.
The paper.
We got it. Okay,
Thank you. We will move on to the Financial Committee report. Ms. Sarah Hawkins.
Good morning. So the balances are read as of February 28, 2025. I'm going to read off a total as a cumulative balance of the 3 subsequent departments. The balance is $2,288,668.35. Would you like me to make a motion for approval, Brian?
Yes, please.
So
Can I
moved.
make a motion for approval, please?
Make a motion to accept. As
Second.
presented.
Motion moves. Thank you.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. To the staff reports, Ms. Pyroski.
Thank you, sir. The investigators' report this time is very short. After the board, or I think probably even before the board meeting last time, we heard a few cases for jurisdiction. For the appraiser division, we heard case 24-1144. The allegations for violations of use tax, the recommendation is the board does have jurisdiction. On case 24-1145, the allegations were errors and omissions, and the board does not have jurisdiction. With respect to the home inspector division, we heard cases 24-0076 through 24-0078. The allegations were errors on omissions, and we had no jurisdiction. Cases 24-0079 and 0080. The allegations are violations of standards, and the board does have jurisdiction on those cases. And with that, sir, that's my investigator's report. Did you want to? ratify that?
Yeah, let's, understand the motion to accept it. All in favor? Okay. Investigators and the directors.
Now the director's report, sir. We've got a few things to talk about today. The first thing, is not on here, but before I forget it, I want to mention board appointments. The chief of staff has been to visit the boards and commissions office, and I've been told to let you know that our appointments should be in the next group that come out of the governor's office. So we should be getting, board appointments any day,
Besides me, who else is?
everybody.
Oh,
As of April 15th, the entire board is expired.
We get an 8-month severance.
So, the department is aware of that, and that was one of the reasons we did try to find out where we were. But he said, let you guys know that we should be getting board appointments in the next group that comes out of the governor's office, and it was okay for me to tell you guys that. As you well know, we are in the middle of a legislative session, and in the middle of is definitely the correct term. There are two bills I wanted to talk about today. The first one is Senate Bill 443. You have a copy of it. It is a cleanup bill from the combining of these three boards of the last legislative session. There's a couple of big things it does, but the biggest and the most meaningful to me is it does, as Scott made the motion, I think at our second board meeting, that we combine the funds. This bill would combine the funds into one fund, which would mean that I wouldn't have to do three of everything anymore. So I'm excited about this bill. It does have an emergency clause on it in that it would go into effect on July 1, which coincides with the beginning of the state's fiscal year. So there are some other things in here as far as appraisers. We are removing the requirement that you use a stamp. You still may use a stamp, but it won't be required any longer. The stamp or the seal. With respect to investigations, the board would no longer be allowed to adjudicate a complaint in executive session. You would do it on the record, and that would help as well. We've made a few other changes. If you guys remember back at the very beginning of the merger, we had a lengthy discussion about the definition of a 1 to 4 unit dwelling, and we've now cleaned up that definition as well. For abstractors, what we did was we took out the requirement for 1 per county. Not a lot there that we changed with respect to home inspectors. We did also what we were trying to do was make the Freedom of Information Act apply uniformly across all 3 of our divisions. So we took out some of the language there. And that's really the major thing we did with home inspectors. So it's all good. This is a bill that was sponsored by the department. This was a department bill at my request. The second bill we're going to talk about is House Bill 1625. It has to do with home inspectors and their insurance, which we talked about at the last board meeting. And now this bill changes it to say that a home inspector is required to carry a professional liability insurance policy or an errors and omissions insurance policy approved by the state insurance department for the home inspections performed by the home inspector. This was not a department bill. We were not aware that this bill was being filed until it was filed, and it has now been amended. This morning, we spoke with Christian Gonzalez, who is the lobbyist for the Home Inspector Association, and he is going to give more information for us on it. At this point, we are neutral on the bill because we don't know enough about it, and the board may stay neutral about the bill, but this is
Well, appraisers aren't required to carry liability.
this is, again, I have no earthly idea why. I can't speak to that, Scott, because.
Well, we're not, are we?
No, we're not. But This was filed by a legislator. I can't speak for why it was filed or when it was, other than when it was filed. I do know that, but I don't know why.
We don't know what provoked it.
We don't know what provoked. We don't know what, that was, one thing that, Christian Gonzalez was gonna help us with. And keep us in the loop as well as what information he's able to get. Aaron, do you know anything about it?
No, I don't.
Okay, I mean, this one came out of left field. I don't know anything about it other than what it says. Okay. The ASC grant, as you guys know, we received a grant of $120,000 from the appraisal subcommittee. And part of that money, the bulk of that money, close to $90,000, was to be spent on removing barriers to entry into the appraiser profession. And with the change in administration, that money was withdrawn and we were allowed to repurpose it. So in repurposing it, the bulk of that money now goes for helping the board and primarily board and staff to just get caught up on well-documented complaint files with the appraisal subcommittee. It had to be used for things that the FIREA, which is the Financial Institutions Reform, Recovery, and Enforcement Act of 1989, allowed grant funds to be used for, which are to help to assist appraiser boards in each of the states. This grant money is it goes to the Appraisal Foundation and to the states only at this point. So we repurposed it into things that will help us. And one of the things that I repurposed it to is for our contract investigators, Larry Disney and Dennis Badger, to create 4 2-hour classes. 2 of the 2-hour classes would be on appraisal subcommittee policy statements, and the other 2 classes would be on how to adjudicate complaints and the sales comparison approach. So it would be very good classes for all of the board members to attend. Appraisers could probably get CE credits for it. But it would be after a board meeting. We would eat lunch, and Aaron, you and your team are always allowed anytime you want to stay for one of these classes, especially the policy statement ones, because that's good information to have. But we would do that.
Why would we not get CE?
Well, there's no reason we wouldn't.
Okay.
I don't know if the home inspectors would allow home inspectors to get individual credit for it as well, because it would make them better home inspector members on the board. I think even the real estate commission should give credit for it. It's gonna make you a better board. But the classes, we would have the board meeting, we'll eat lunch, and then we'll go with the 2-hour class so that you guys can get in and get out. But we do have Larry Disney has agreed to do 2, and Dennis Badger has agreed to do 2, they're excellent instructors. So I'm sad we had to repurpose the funds, but I'm excited about what we're going to be able to do with it moving forward, hopefully. I'm still, as you may know, the executive director of the appraisal subcommittee resigned suddenly at the end of the year, and they're in a little bit of disarray, so it may be a minute before we find out. I also have money to, in every case now for an upgrade. One of them will review all of our upgrade reports. It's really going to be a good thing for this board, in my opinion. But I'll keep you up to date on our grant fund requests. As we talked about at our last board meeting briefly, about the appraisal subcommittee's preliminary findings on our compliance review. I wrote a 4.5-page letter, and with Sarah's help, Sarah Stevens, thank you very much, because part of this was concerning education. We wrote a response to that. We're waiting on them to get back to us with our final findings and our rating. Legislative audit is back. They're here, working, going through the files, going well so far this year. It's not on Facebook. And maybe actually would, but the fall, I was trying to have a spring day with the appraisers. It's not going to work out. We're going to have to do it in the fall, but I will be coming to you with a date on that soon. We're still working with the hotel trying to get the date. And there was one last thing. It's the very last page of your materials for today. I wanted Susie to talk to you a minute or just show you. As far as upgrade exam results, Susie, you want to tell them what you learned?
Quite simply, we're at a 50% pass fail rate. When I first ran the numbers, it looked like our issue was the RAs moving it to SL and CR, but then when I shifted them and put them by credential, it popped out, no, it's 50-50. Probably the biggest thing that I noticed was it seems you either pass the first time or you don't pass. So you get 3 attempts, 2 you can take right away, and then if you fail twice, you have to wait 6 months to test again. So of course, we've all been through school, we know this could simply be there are good test takers. There are those who prepare. They do good in school. They're going to do good on this. It's important to them. And then perhaps the others aren't putting forth as much effort or have test anxiety, or the QE is maybe not as challenging as it needs to be, or perhaps there's supervisory issues. There's so many factors that play a part, but in order to protect the public, we want to make sure our appraisers are learning what they need to learn and are good at their jobs so that we don't end up with complaints and the public ends up getting poor quality. So just something to think about, perhaps some different ways we can help ensure that the people that are passing, and that's another thing, people that pass may not do good reports, they may just be good test takers. So there's a lot of factors, but some things we need to think about regarding upgrade interviews. Are we doing a favor letting the test catch them, that sort of thing. So anyway, just food for water.
Is this pass rate, has it fallen?
Yes, the pass rate has fallen down. Overall, it's fallen across all the states, all the jurisdictions. It's a 50% pass rate for first-time test takers.
You know why I think it has?
Nationwide.
Yes,
Virtual education.
I think
I'm in
that,
that camp.
I think that plays into it. I also think that when we cut it back for state license, it's only 6 months. You only have to have 1,000 hours and no fewer than 6 months. And in that 6 months, they're not learning everything they need to learn. So we've got some issues, but when Susie brought this to me, I thought it was good information for you guys to see, because, we are on par with every other state. There are problems. So there are problems we're going to have to address. And I think part of it too, Scott, is that qualifying education has not been updated in 10 years, over 10 years, since 2008. So we're going on close to 20 years since the qualifying education is being taken. And the test is updated every 2 years, I think. They look at it every year and update it every other. So there's a lot of moving parts here for us to consider. But and along that same vein, I have signed up to take, and yes, I didn't ask you beforehand, but I've signed up to take a basic appraisal principles class just to see what people coming in see. And I'm going to do it online so I can see what an online student sees, because we don't know. I used to do this when I was investigator quite frequently, of taking classes just to monitor what we're improving and what we're using for disciplinary education, if need be. Anyway, I thought it was interesting, so I asked Susie to present that to you guys today. And that is my report for this meeting, sir.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to accept the director's report. And Sarah, thank you. All in favor? Approved.
Oh, I'm sorry, Susie, I did that and I should have left it for new business.
You didn't talk about full business.
No, but I really do old business, and then I did skip something else, but it's fine, we'll do it next time.
Okay. Yeah. Old business.
Our old business is a home inspector, requesting a waiver due to a background, issue. Aaron and I spoke after the last board meeting and concluded that he does need a waiver from the board. And at the board's request, I'll give you the high level overview of what this is. It's a he's applied to become a home inspector. He's asking for a waiver for a domestic battery in the 3rd degree conviction from 2017. And because it is a violent crime, we look back more than the 5 years. It happened November 2nd, 2017. So we talked about the fact that the issue involved a minor that was the part of the domestic battery charge, and that the gentleman has provided letters of recommendation. He has complied with the court documents. As a reminder, after the attorney makes an oral motion for a directed verdict, and that was denied, the court finds the defendant guilty of domestic battery 3rd degree, a misdemeanor. He was fined cost and sent to, he got a suspended sentence that he did 1 year with CCBC. He had to undergo an evaluation, and he's done that. So he's done everything that the courts have asked him to do. He did run our request was that he run a background check, and he has done that. And this is the only charge on this background check. Is there anything else we need to cover, Aaron?
Unless the board has questions. You said November 2nd, 17. Was that his conviction, or is that when it happened?
That would be when it happened. Hold on. No, that would have been the date of his conviction. It happened on August 7th of 2017. Yes.
Well, he's complied with everything the court asked him to do. He's been a good boy ever since.
Kind of, with nothing else on his record, who knows what happened that night? Obviously, he did something wrong. So minor. He's jumped through all the hoops. But any other thoughts? I mean, I'm inclined to think that he should be granted a waiver. Aaron?
As long as the board makes a finding that he doesn't pose a risk of harm to the public, that would be acceptable to grant the waiver.
Pushing 8 years ago.
Right. I make a motion that we grant the waiver.
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you guys for that. And then our next board meeting is May 16th at 10 a.m. For that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Sarah.
Diane, do we need to take these with us?
I say it's just your copy. If you want me to shred it and put it in for you, I'm happy to do that. I'll stop.